JobSite Mink Oil is a blend of substances intended to help with leather conditioning and adding waterproofing characteristics. We're going to take a look at what the product is, the company that makes it, the ingredients, and then we're going to do a sample application so you can see exactly what it looks like before and after you apply it to leather goods. So with that, let's dive right in. JobSite is a brand created in the early 2000s and is owned by Manaki Group, a global supplier of footwear-related products, and they are based in Michigan, the United States. Now let's take a look at the product itself and the ingredients. So they're not listed on the bottle here, though looking online at the material, while doing some research, I was able to find that it includes 4 key ingredients. And these are going to be silicone, which often comes from silica, from sand with gas-derived methanol, lanolin, which is a natural wax from sheep, neat's foot oil, which are fatty acids that come primarily from bovine bulls and cows. And then it's got, you guessed it, mink oil, which are fatty acids that are in oil from the mink. So it's important to keep in mind that beyond just the mink oil itself, the other substances as well may be getting put into your leather for potentially the life of that leather. And so we'll see the characteristics that it provides. There are definitely some benefits. You definitely want to weigh that too with if you want something like silicone in your leather potentially forever. Keep that in mind. That said, there are pros and cons, and each decision is going to be ultimately up to you. So let's check out what this looks like. So we're going to take this small dish here and we're going to open up our mink oil and let's see the color and consistency. All right. There we go. So when we check it out, it's actually pretty viscous. It's not too slow, it's not too watery, and relatively clear. So that's what it looks like. So now let's apply it. And typically what I'll do is, especially when you're working on a desk, I'll take a scrap piece of leather. You could put any other backing that you've got, put it down first, and that way when we're applying the mink oil, it's not going to get all over your table or any other material that you've got below your work area. So we're going to do a application here. We've got 2 samples of leather. One we're going to keep natural so we can compare it later. And then this one we're going to apply the mink oil to. So what we'll do is we'll take a white cotton rag, so it's going to be lint free and also relatively gentle on the leather itself. So we'll take that, then we'll apply the mink oil right on top. And what I like to do is, if you notice, it's going to collect in an area. So I like to kind of spread it out so it doesn't put as much in any one area once we apply it to the leather. And then here we go. So I'll do it in circular motion. And that way it doesn't collect too much in any one spot. And then we'll essentially just do that a couple times until we get that leather surface looking even as we go. We can kind of turn it as we do it. Again, it's good because we could see a little overlap that we've kind of already gotten on our work surface. So it's good to have that backer there. You could use pretty much anything though. I'm using leather here, but and then lastly what I'll do is I'll do one more coat, and it'll vary based on what you're doing. Not really coat per se, but because if we see, we've got different concentrations based on where a lot was when we put the rag down at first. So I'll just go through in the end and do one more that kind of goes over everything to hopefully blend a nice even application so we don't end up with too much in any one area. And we kind of spread that out as evenly as possible. May not be perfect, but if you do that, you'll get good at it and avoid any oversaturated areas. All right, so there we've got it. Our round is now coated with our JobSite Mink Oil. All right, So let's check out how our newly conditioned piece compares to our original. And you can see the conditioned one is going to be a little bit darker. And if we take a closer look, we could definitely see a color difference and a little bit of a texture difference just because this has more conditioning and moisture. So now let's look at the big question. Once it dries, how does that look? So here we have a round that has had JobSite Mink Oil applied to it and allowed to dry for around 24 hours. So when we compare the three, we now have our untreated one, our newly treated one in the middle, and then our one that's been dry for around 24 hours. And you can see when we take the untreated one and the dried one, there's a little bit of a difference, but it's not huge. The one that's been treated is just a little bit darker. And you can see there the treated one. So it's actually not bad at all in terms of the color variation, after using it. And now let's take a look at the water resistantness that we're getting from it. So first, we'll take a leather round here that is untreated, and we'll take our water in an eyedropper and we'll drop that on and see how that looks. And it gets dark pretty quick. You can see that water kind of soaking in. And now if we take our newly treated round with the mink oil, let's see how that reacts with the water. We should expect a little more water resistance. Yep, and there you go. It's not soaking right in like the first one was. It will soak in a little bit because it's not waterproof, but you definitely get more water resistance with the mink oil. And there you have it. JobSite Mink Oil, how it applies, how it looks, the characteristics that you get, and overall, if it's a product that you're comfortable using silicone on your leather, this could be a great one for your next project. And there you have it. Until next time.